guys. Yeah, you guys are like one step.
Nicky, are you a soul or are you the spawn of Satan?
No, I can't go to Earth. All right, where I go?
It's a real fun set. You know, I think this is the most fun I've ever had. If you're not scheduled to be here, you want to come down and hang out anyway.
It was hard keeping a straight face sometimes, you know.
They haven't got this strange showbiz thing around them where they feel they're very important.
I'm not Nicky.
Tell me when that's on.
It's like being in a fraternity and making a film. You know, it's just everybody's having fun.
The band. All right, here we go.
He uses a lot of his friends, his buddies on this film, so it makes it a joy to be here.
Friends helping friends, but Adam's the key to it all.
You have to listen to me. As usual, bro.
You know, I love all my buddies, so we try to write them parts just to make sure we get to hang out with them as much as we can.
Hey. Hey.
Yeah, he said he wanted me to be the gatekeeper of his next film, and I thought, okay, that'd be great. But the breasts were not ever mentioned.
Yeah. And they're all killer roles. There's no walkthroughs or anything. Each one just sort of has something to it.
We are all gonna die!
Whoever's playing the part, we gear it towards them a little more. But every time I talk to Lovitz, I tell him, hey, Lovitz, we're gonna write you a part. He goes, you are not. I say, yeah, man, we're gonna write you it. He goes, when I see it, I'll believe it.
Lady, are those things for me?
You kept your word. A lot of the guys who were playing the parts are who we wrote it for. Tiny, we wrote it for. Always thought Tiny Lister was very funny.
Could you concentrate for 5 seconds?
I am concentrate, man.
Carvey's in it, he's funny as hell. I said, Carvey, I think we're writing you a part in this movie.
Who gives a shit?
I hope you want to do it. He said, hey, I trust you guys. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. He broke his ankle doing the damn movie. I had to go to the hospital with him that night and feel guilty for a couple of weeks.
This used to happen to me a lot when I was younger, but without the lava.
Alan Covert, we like to humiliate as much as we can, and the reason I think we were excited about this movie, he had to shave half of his head.
I'm freaked out.
Oh yeah, I told him he should gain weight for the part, like 40 pounds or something. He goes, why? And I said, I just think it would be funnier. And he goes, are you serious? And I said, just give it a shot. You know, he's like, give it a shot? I mean, if I do it, I'm committed to this. And I said, yeah, I think it's gonna be funnier that way.
Why is that funny?
I don't know.
Jesus Christ, I'm gonna fucking vomit.
Something about Patricia and her acting and her character made you believe that this guy could have a love affair on Earth.
I can give you the power.
She's unbelievable because she's got such a great attitude and she's such a great presence on the set. And then when she works, she's so open and so fearless. Really exciting actress to work with, you know, unbelievable.
You know, from this angle, you're kind of cute.
Reese, man, I saw him do some work and I thought he was funny. And we loved him as a guy. And he said, oh, I'd love to do this part. We said, well, all right, then you should do it.
That's why I'm in this business.
When we were writing the movie, we were sitting around going, ooh, wouldn't it be nice for Harvey Keitel to play the devil?
He was our first choice by far. We sent it to him in Turkey, I think. We faxed it to him.
This was a very difficult decision.
We got a message a few days later, you know, Morse code or something. Harvey said yes from Turkey.
Hallelujah.
He really has this incredible comic side that he doesn't get to do a lot of broad comedy, and he really loves it.
Son, do the best.
He's hardcore.
No frontal nudity for him in this film, but he does a good job anyway.
You are the best devil, sir! The best devil!
We were thinking about him being like a Long Island dad, you know, family first type of guy.
You're such a handsome boy.
Who else? Rodney Dangerfield, we wrote that part for Rodney.
Even in hell, I get no respect.
That's a great man. He's the man that I definitely talked about the most growing up.
In fact, you look like my first wife. Only she had more hair.
He was the first guy I sat around and memorized all his jokes and his records and watched everything he did.
The last time I saw a pair of jugs that big, 2 hillbillies were blowing on them.
If you ever get in trouble and your chips are down, you have no one to turn to, and you think the world is over, Ozzy Osbourne.
Ozzy?
Holy shit.
Let the madness begin.
That was just the business, meeting Ozzy.
Well, I was like so excited that Ozzy was there that I was hiding behind Anna. I'm like, oh, that's Ozzy. Ozzy's here. You guys, look, that's Ozzy.
I was in awe when he came to the set.
He really would like shock people when he was on the set. People would just like,
First of all, everyone was talking about it for months before he ever got there. I've never seen so many people actually go to where we're shooting. Everyone was trying to get a glimpse of Ozzy.
when we were writing the script, we were like hanging out, trying to come up with a better ending. There's got to be something in that ball. We're talking about it being a bat. Maybe Ozzy Osbourne could come out and bite the bat's head off. Oh my God, that actually could be unbelievable.
Perfect. It's like the one evil brother turns into a bat. Here's Ozzy Osbourne, who is known for biting the head off of a bat.
The only thing holding us back was like, I hope Ozzy wants to do it.
I don't want to do it. I'm so scared to go to movies. I said, on my rock and roll thing, that's one thing, but I'm not an actor, you know. Whereas when I come along to the set, I was pleasantly surprised that if you do it wrong, they just do it again until you get it right.
Very good.
That was f***ing crap. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that fat? Yeah. I'm not going to be an invisible man blowjob here. I had a really good time. Adam's a really wonderful guy, and everyone on the set was wonderful to work with. But don't blink too much, because you might miss me.
Here, kill him with this.
I'd love to show him my world.
You know, he has this uncanny knack of befriending talented people.
I like being around people who are excited to work on something we're doing.
He knows how to have a good time, and that's why I think he enjoys working so much.
And I better be in your next movie, you hear what I'm saying? Don't try to forget me. Don't change your phone number. I will find you. I will seek you out. I'm a stalker. Okay, I'm back to normal.
Oh! Hey, pal. Welcome.
Welcome to what?
Hell.
I think probably the main issues of designing Little Nicky was just to create a believable hell.
I deserve this!
And a couple other smaller sets. We did a train station that was supposed to be for New York, a subway station. The apartment that he moves into is a New York, East Village apartment that we built. But probably half of it was hell. Certainly the biggest sets were hell.
We didn't want to do anything goofy. We didn't want to depict hell as guys in red devil suits with pitchforks.
We took hell very seriously. Instead of making it goofy hell or funny hell, it's just hell. I mean, it's like serious hell.
We looked at these Bosch paintings, which were just incredibly dark, and they had surreal elements to them.
So that was great to be able to go back and look at how other artists had sort of pictured hell. We had the three main sets. We had the gates of hell, and there's the gatekeeper. Now you can see just sort of a huge, massive, dark cave pit with almost cave-like stalagmite forms. We wanted to really make it feel tough and pretty hardcore. There were things you could get impaled on, like there's a lot of real spiny looking things. We wanted to make it feel hot, dark, claustrophobic, and kind of terrible.
Wow!
I wanted people to look at it and go, that's hell, whoa.
Of course, the first day I was here, I broke part of it. I hadn't seen Kevin Nealon in a while, and I went, oh man, I did like that and broke one of the horns off of hell. So that was cool.
The throne room was also incredibly detailed, and that's the great thing about Perry, and great attention to detail.
At the end of the movie, when hell breaks forth up into Central Park, there are these big spiny spikes that bust out with fire and smoke. Yeah! You felt like you'd seen that and that was familiar, and now here it is, like burning and coming up out of the ground.
Soon you will see things more horrible than you can imagine.
So you walk onto it and you think, this isn't a movie, it's a rock concert.
Because it really looked like a concert set. There was really a stage. I definitely had a feeling of this being almost like one of the concerts in the park, except for like the hell bad version. think there's definitely a connection between heavy metal imagery and the stuff that we did, because I think a lot of what people, especially young people, what their perceptions are, they don't know about Hieronymus Bosch, but they do know about Ozzy, and they know about other heavy metal bands which have used hell and the devil as part of their style. So we did look at a lot. I looked at all the Slayer albums, I looked at all Ozzy's albums, and I looked at old concert footage from different bands, and just their use of like fire and smoke and all that kind of thing.
The coolest thing is when we did that was Ozzy Osbourne was standing in front of it, and he said something like, this is really pretty cool.
That set's amazing, with flames and things and freaks walking around it. I mean, very, very similar set on the Ozfest.
So they had me design his tour, Ozfest 2000. So I designed that, and we definitely based his tour on the things that we did in the movie.
That's my father's throne! Is that okay?
Let's see.
So, on to heaven.
We had talked about heaven, and heaven been portrayed in movies so many times with like just the white clouds and a white room, and you could do it that way, but I really wanted to beat that.
I guess hell is a lot easier to do because you can give them fire and darkness and scary gloom. But I think heaven is so much more ethereal and grand in people's imaginations of what it could be. When I always felt like we would never be able to come up to anybody's expectations.
So we came up with this idea of the birthday cake.
Birthday cake? Like, what do you mean, birthday cake? I don't get it.
Every day in heaven is your birthday.
And but the more I got into it, the more I realized it was like the perfect thing, because who can argue with birthday cake being heaven? And we decided, well, he should be inside the birthday cake. So we started looking at like, what would it look like to be inside of a birthday cake?
And it also let us do pastels and the muted colors, but also with the icing and the texture. And I thought that would be a really cool thing to be on the inside of.
Can I just tell you, I am so excited right now. So excited. She really is.
It was really one of the trickiest sets to build, even though it wasn't the biggest, because we really wanted to feel like it was just glowing, to make it feel like it was cake. Ultimately, we built the whole thing out of batting that you would use to make a quilt. I think it turned out pretty well. It's definitely not what you would expect and not something you've seen before.
I'm really happy with it because it's a little out there. It's a little weird on top of being funny and accessible. It's just bizarre. I mean, it has some of my favorite elements of movies that I've always wanted to do, you know, like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I mean, fantastic sets.
Okay, kids, enjoy your new home. No. Wow! Holy shit!
I'm using just about everything, from matte paintings to comps and miniatures and simple opticals. Those are all terms that I've just learned, so I wanted to impress you with them.
Adam and Steven were very interesting to work with. They haven't been involved with a great many visual effects projects. Their only main request was more creatures, more fires, more this, more that.
Most of the films that I've done are more action shows. Here, you have to change your hat and you want to make it fun. Even if it's somebody getting hit by a bus, well, it's Adam Sandler and he can kind of sell that.
You were gone 10 seconds. What happened?
There's a little bit of cartoony style that we've been doing. Well, it's a comedy, so you got to make it look a little bit more electric, a little bit crazy.
That's insane!
While we were writing the movie, we would write another flying scene or a stunt, and I'd say, Adam's going to be in a harness in about 5 months from now, yelling down at me, and I'm going to be laughing at him. Lo and behold, that happened. I've really enjoyed that. It's pretty intense, pretty fun. Glad I'm not doing it.
You know, it's taken us all by surprise. I think none of us have done stunts before, so we're all sort of finding it amusing but scary at times, you know. And jumping off a cliff once is okay, but when you have to do it 10 times, it's all surprisingly low tech. It's still, you know, a lot of swinging around on wires, you know, against the green screen. But it's just the technology that's applied to it later. That's the sort of spacey stuff.
There's Popeye's chicken, right there.
I think I've had more green screens on this show than any show I've done.
A lot of cool things on that film. I mean, the other one is the arms and lips.
Hello.
They were supposed to be a 2D, where we had shot Harvey Keitel's arms against green screen, holding a pair of rubber lips and doing the action, and we were just going to replace the lips.
It turned out that it was just going to be too difficult once we actually tried to approach the whole thing, so we just videotaped him doing his delivery. And those videotapes that we did will become a guide to animators who will totally do the lips CG.
Take me to my room. I want to be alone.
Can we move the lips a little?
Yeah.
They had Adam do was go ahead and act out all the scenes, and he would actually stand there with a pair of lips and, you know, be looking at the dialogue and saying different things. And, well, wouldn't it be funny if this happened?
How about I want to be alone, lay him down and cover him, like you're hiding yourself?
You're hiding, like he's running away like a little kid.
So we had to, you know, create a lot of physical effects based upon, you know, what Adam was creating.
That's gonna be much funnier.
And it was great. And so we had an idea right from that point what to do.
Here you go.
Horse. We basically took his movement and applied it to these arms and hands.
So the next thing we knew, we were contracted to do CG arms and CG lips. So we built that whole thing CG.
Well, when I was thinking of these visual effects and the boys, we were thinking of our stuff, it's not like we're George Lucas going, let's push the envelope. We were just like, hey, that would be funny, don't you think? All right, let's move on.
The makeup effects for Little Nicky are extremely extensive, actually. We have tons of demons, we have tons of burned souls, we have this giant Bigfoot monster, we have character makeup on Harvey Keitel, who plays Satan. We have big makeup on Kevin Nealon, who plays the Gatekeeper, and another makeup on Blake Clark, who plays Jimmy the Demon, and millions of makeups. More makeups, I think, than we've ever done before. I think we've got about 14 makeup artists that are working every single day for the past 2 months. It's a big crew, very big crew.
Popeye's chicken is the shiznit.
I thought we were gonna do these big monsters with giant horns, and although everything has horns and they're pretty big guys, they're still
humanoid.
We looked at a lot of different films and books of demons and things like that, and we ended up doing like 10 different sculptures for these demons. And
Finally nailed down a look, we liked.
these guys have to put these suits on and these makeups and horns and contact lenses and dentures and gloves. It's pretty uncomfortable.
Don't forget, you're shoving a pineapple up Hitler's ass at 4 p.m. It was fun. I mean, other than having to wear that damn makeup 12 hours a day. They glue stuff all around. I had a headpiece and white eyes, and nails. And first thing I'd do when I got it off is I scratched my head because I couldn't get to it. I'll wear anything. I'll do anything. If the money's right, within reason.
That monster should be low-tech, which is what he is, sort of a Chewbacca throwback. Not like a totally computer-generated character. He should just be the old guy in the suit with state-of-the-art animatronics moving his eyes and his mouth and stuff.
Hello out there in TV land.
Sometimes the old guy in the suit, I think, is the funniest.
Let me tell you the truth, the most challenging thing we had on the show was doing Harvey Keitel's makeup. And that was only because it was such a specific look. And with all of us, coming together, we did tons of makeup tests on Harvey and tons of sculptures and Photoshop artwork until we finally hit on something. And it was literally the night before Harvey shot his first day. We locked down the makeup and said, that's it.
You look great! Dad! Dad! You're all right!
In the film, Harvey starts to deteriorate. We did a little pinky gag where we taped Harvey's finger back and had a little appliance piece here and a dummy finger, and Jimmy breaks it off.
Gross!
Then the next stage is his ear falls off. We glued Harvey's ear down in the morning and had an appliance that went over his ear to make it look like it was cut off. And then we had an ear that glued on and we'd just pull it off on cue.
The longest makeup is probably the gatekeeper.
It takes about 2 hours to get into it.
We sculpted this bald cap, that still had all the definition in Kevin's hair.
It was a little claustrophobic having all that on, especially when they had the water-filled condoms in each one of them to give it that jiggle effect.
This is going to be a whole different lifestyle for me, isn't it?
It was entertaining to see the way people reacted to it. Everybody wanted to touch it.
Go ahead, Gary. You know you want it.
We're starting to charge like a $5 cover and 2-drink minimum. Oh. Everybody's got a comment. Hey, nice rack.
Hey, can I take him with me? I want to have sex with his head.
But eventually I got used to wearing it, and occasionally I still wear it.
We've been really lucky, we've been really blessed on this film with super cooperative actors. It's been tough, but fun.
Aren't you boiling hot in that outfit?
No.
It's like 80 degrees in this hallway. Where are you from, the South?
In a perfect world, all the devils would be naked. Satan is usually portrayed as an animal, half man, half beast, and there's usually no clothing involved. Steve was very clear that he wanted the characters to be very human, and that also Satan's family were royalty with different personalities that should be reflected in their dress. All the characters basically have one hell outfit because hell is just hell forever. So you're not really worried about days.
It's our time, brother.
Adrian's strength is he's very witty and very cutting and ruthless.
To the defilement of Earth and the corruption of its people.
And he's a little bit delicate. Cassius is a big bully that will crush you.
I'm gonna keep Torture going 24/7. No breaks.
Those are their two personalities, and it was a lot of fun to reflect that in their clothing. Cassius is all about his muscles, all about this big, beautiful body.
Don't forget clinically insane.
And there's something very warrior-like about Cassius's clothing.
Let's see what you got.
Whereas Adrian's clothing is much more swish. And there's something delicious about Adrian.
Hello, Mr. Devil. I like your cape.
In dressing Harvey as Satan, it was also very interesting to bring up the fact that he was from another time. So it's almost, you can imagine him a swashbuckler or, jumping through a window to rescue someone. Maybe Satan really wouldn't rescue someone, but something kind of romantic and flashy and sort of sweet and poetic about him.
I'm still in love with you!
Oh my God, he's talking about me.
Even though little Nicky is the moron son of Satan, he's secure.
I like the way you're happy just being yourself, Try to act cool.
When we began to work on the little Nicky character, we primarily were after the idea that little Nicky is a nice guy.
Hello, friend. My name is Nicky.
a little dorky, completely uncool.
Take your dumbass canteen, goofy.
Not worrying at all about anything pretentious whatsoever.
Could I come with you to getting a gelati?
You know, he looks like a kid and a nice kid at that.
Such a sweet boy.
You look at him and you know exactly what he is.
We were thinking of not making him look like an authentic metal guy, but more of a guy who, a wannabe kind of guy. And his hair is trying to look cool, but it doesn't look that cool.
The look he fashioned from someone he knew in high school. I'm sure we know people like that in every high school or every town there's, you know, a shy guy like that you have like a soft spot for that hides behind his hair. He definitely wanted to have that hair to push away from his face. We started with wigs that we rented, and we tried them on him, different ones he liked and didn't like, but mainly he liked the greasy. Can you make it look greasy?
How you feeling over there, Satan Abdul-Jabbar? A little strange. I can't stop thinking about this girl, Valerie.
Patricia Arquette playing Valerie was kind of tricky. It was trickier than maybe you'd think it would be because, first of all, Patricia Arquette is incredibly beautiful. We kind of wanted Valerie to be someone who was a little bit quirky and a little bit off, and also that she wasn't cool.
I get messed with all the time.
And you would believe that she would be completely taken with little Nicky. You don't want to sit there and go, now, come on, how can that be? That somehow when they were together, they looked like a pair.
Your glasses are pretty. They make your eyes look big and sparkly. It's fun looking at them.
One of the things that I think achieved that was that we gave her some very outdated glasses. It just made her impossibly unchic. Also, Valerie playing a design student, to me was also kind of a fun thing because any design student knows it's a mess. It's just an absolute mess.
I love you. And I love you, Nicky.
My name is Beefy. I'm an old friend of your father's. He asked me to help you out.
Oh, they have all kinds of nice shots that you really enjoy training, like lifting their leg and peeing on cue and taking a dump, humping a dog in an alley.
And I love you.
Well, I think the biggest challenge that from the beginning was the fact that they wanted to use a bulldog. He has to look up at people at certain times and relate to people and act in the movie so that he's selling visually what he's saying.
Making friends already.
The dog was great. The dog was so great, it was scary. Just like great on one take. Move on, the dog was perfect.
That's great. That's a good one.
Come on, slide right on in.
Me, moron.
Sorry,
One shot in particular, they come around a corner and they're walking down the street. Now, we don't have him moving his mouth at that time, but we are throwing looks. Really what that takes to do that type of thing is some of the basic behaviors that we use in the business. You train the dog to go with, watch the actor, and you start small and you just combine all those behaviors and you bring it all together and it's the end result.
Take him to the hole, Nicky. I mean, woof, woof.
What they do now for talking animals is you actually have to keep their mouth shut. And as you can see, now that's difficult with a bulldog to begin with. One of the more challenging scenes that we had was when the characters were hanging over the lava pit. You've got to take your time and make sure that he's not uncomfortable. You just don't throw him in there and say, let's do it. It's not a situation where you don't care what happens to him, because I do.
Guys were really complaining a lot. I was complaining a lot.
I got a wedgie!
Her underwear fell off.
And then we heard something, we looked down and it was the dog snoring. He was hanging by his wedgie and he was asleep.
So we had the harness right. It worked out for him anyway. And I think the bottom line to me is that the dogs enjoy this too.
It's okay for me to shit in the street, but you gotta use a toilet.
That was good. That was good.
Like that one?
Quiet confidence.
Do you want to add a line here about shitting, the one that Jack said?
You wanna pick that up for me? It's the law.
Yeah, this
we already got a joke at that same
Yeah.
But those are my roommate sodas.
But those are my roommate sodas. Does that sound like a statement the son of the devil would make?
I think just cut in like a don't do it. Do it.
A higher pitch.
Higher pitch.
Yeah. Here we go. But those are my roommate sodas.
That's good.
Did you just talk?
No.
The people who did Babe Pig in the City are doing our Beefy, our talking dog. It's all the state-of-the-art stuff.
So they shoot a plate with his mouth shut, or maybe he's panting, or he's doing whatever a dog does, and then we take it and animate it.
The next step that we have to take to get his mouth open and to get him to talk is to create a computer graphics model. Trying to get that model as close as possible to the, of course, the original animal's head shape. And then we build sympathetic motion within the face. We start putting expressions in, just squeezing eyes. And what you get is something that looks like this. It's that same model, but now it's animated, and you can see that the jowls are moving around, the jaw is in sync with the dialogue, and we have some animation in the eyes. Then everything will be handed over to Betsy to finish this off and to put the textures on and to fix all the things that we broke. And a shot like this actually falls together quite easily.
Really? Release your evil.
What I was doing had to do with, yes, keeping him consistent, keeping him looking like he was part of the scene. The dog is licking his chops or something. He's doing a bunch of crazy stuff with his tongue that we had to completely get rid of in lighting. You couldn't have that. So this is what the final looks like when he's talking, and we've had to go in and replace quite a lot above, but quite a change from what the original was.
Lighting is an incredible amount of labor and hard work to just get all those textures to work.
These effects companies are insane. We look at the dog talking and we say, maybe he should look a little happier when he says that line. Come back the next day and he's looking a little happier. It's unbelievable.
Say Mr. Beefy. Say it. Say it.
Mr. Beefy.